Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am popping in to explain this game and then I'll definitely show you the footage. I'm freshly showered, but I want to get this video out there, so that's what we're going to do. So I gotta film this intro. Anyway, I am doing my first round of Library Lotto. This is a game that was created by Ash over at Books to Ashes. Definitely go check out her video if you like this, because she was the complete total inspiration for it, and she does the series on her own channel. So definitely go check her out. I will link her everywhere that I can link her. She's literally my favorite booktuber right now, so highly recommend that channel. Now, what we have here is I have sketched out my library. This was me at the library sketching it out really quickly, so it's not that great right now. I do have a better version in my bullet journal. I assign each of the shelves a number. Now the thing is that my first roll is going to be done using a 20-sided die. This is because the shelves that I would like to get are numbered 1 through 20. And as it goes above 20, there's fewer shelves that are fiction shelves and more shelves that are nonfiction biographies and stuff that I just have no interest in reading, which makes this game have a punishment. So I'll get into that in a second. The second roll is going to determine what column I'm going to be choosing from on that shelf, and then the third roll is going to be the row on that individual column that I'll be choosing from. So I did give myself a little bit of a treat, or an advantage, I guess you would say, so that I don't automatically get stuck with something I know I'm not going to read and then therefore have a punishment. So I have an extra die that has a plus sign, a minus sign, and two opposite arrows, which I call the reverse. So if I get the two different arrows, I can re-roll my dice for the row on the shelf, and then I can choose a book from that row instead of the one that I originally got. If I get the plus, then I can do the row that's above it. So if it's a number 1, then if the last one on that shelf is a number 6, I'll get the number 6. If it's a number 2, then I'll get the number 1, and so forth. If I get the minus, then I can pick a book from the shelf below it instead of the one that I got. This receives no punishment whatsoever. It's just a little bit of a fun way where if I got stuck on something that's like from one author on the shelf and it's some big 26 book series, I don't have to read their book. I can use the other shelf. Now, the other part with this, how does the punishment come into play? If I do not read the book that I take home as part of the Library Lotto challenge, then for the next round, I have to add a dice. And for each time that I skip out on a book that I select, I have to continue to add dice. So I've got like 6 different dice. They all have various numbers that can be rolled on them. So the more dice that are added, the higher the probability that I'm going to get a shelf that I do not want to get. I'm going to wind up on one of those nonfiction ones. So yeah, it's a pretty simple game. And I will show you all of the selections for the books that were on the shelf that got chosen, and which one I actually picked up. So I did take home 2 with me, but I only read one of them, which was on that first shelf, the primary shelf, without using the bonus dice in order to pick another book. So I brought both home, but I only had to read the one, and I did. I completed it. So the rest of this video is going to be me telling you my thoughts and feelings on the book as I'm reading it, as well as some vlogging to show you what I was doing throughout the week. I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you like Library Lotto down below in the comments. And I've already done the second round. It's already filmed, so I just have to edit it and get it up. But I really like this game and would definitely want to continue. But again, please go check out Ash's channel since she is the creator. So I want to send some viewers her way. All right, thanks for watching. I'm old. It's Thursday. I didn't put up a video, and it's because I'm working on the secret project, which now you know about. So one of my favorite YouTubers, she does this thing called Library Lotto. So I did my own version of it. And this is the first book that I'm going to be doing for this type of Library Lotto. It's called The Husbands. I started on it last night, and it's really exciting so far, but it's just kind of building up, and we haven't really seen the premise just yet, other than her visiting this neighborhood where the men are doing a lot of the typical women style stuff that's just kind of laid on women to do, that men get out of as husbands. So yeah, I'm on my way to the movies. We're gonna go see Bullet Train. It's me, my husband, and his brother, a friend, and then 2 other friends. So really excited about that. I'm going to be reading on the way there, and I'll tell you more about the book later. So this is hilarious because I just laid down in bed and opened this, and it says, Nora lies in bed trying to quiet the monologue that has been running through her head for the last 3 hours. Oh, so now I'm going to read for a little bit and try to go to sleep soon because I have to get up at 4:20 in the morning to get ready for work. So it's been a whole week that I've been reading this. I'm a little over 200 pages in, so I still have 100 pages left to go. This is really good, but I will warn you that if you have a lot of anxiety, especially when it comes to parenting or just roles as a woman and expectations that are on you when you do have a household, so like marriage type stuff, where if someone comes into your house, they're not going to look at the guy if the house is dirty. They're going to look at the woman and be like, why haven't you cleaned, even if both of you are working. I definitely have those anxieties, even though I don't have children yet, and because I'm 32 now, and the plan has always been to start having children like pretty much exactly a year from now. And I don't really know if I want them at this point, not only because of all the school violence that's been happening, and just the way that the government is in the country, and the fact that, like, if I happen to be one of the people that has an ectopic pregnancy, I could die because they won't give me the necessary procedures to keep me alive. So I have a lot of anxiety about that stuff. And so this book is about a woman. She is around my age, so she's 35. She's been married for a while. She has a daughter that's 4 years old, and now she is pregnant with her second child. She works at a law firm, and so she wants to become partner at the law firm. There are other people at the law firm who also have children, but they're men. So it's not quite the same, because unless they are a single parent, they are not pulling the same weight that the woman typically pulls when it comes to raising children. And this is stuff that I've observed from pretty much every couple I've ever met. And I also worked in childcare for several years, and generally it is like the woman who's doing the picking up and dropping off, with few exceptions. And so a lot of this, it just gives me major anxiety because I've seen it. I've seen where men take even less of a role than this husband does, and then this husband just kind of like thinks that he's pulling his weight because he does stuff like mowing the lawn and changing the oil, and every once in a while he'll just kind of like do something nice for his wife. But it's like, the thing is, if you feel like it's not you that has to do all of the raising, you're kind of giving yourself credit for any little thing that you do. But it shouldn't just be automatically assumed that the woman is responsible for doing everything for the child, and anything that you do is helping out, because it's your child too. And so she has a lot of anxiety and frustrations because she's like, I don't feel like I should have to tell you what to do. I shouldn't have to teach you how to pack a diaper bag. I shouldn't have to tell you when school picture day is. Like, these are just things that you should know, because no one's there setting reminders for me or teaching me how to do these things. I had to figure it out on my own. And then, like, if he needs to do something, she'll be like, okay, you know, I'll stay home, I'll watch the kid or whatever. But yet, if she needs an hour in the office to work on a case, he'll be calling like, oh, she's throwing a tantrum, I need you to come home. Like, I don't know why you chose today of all days to go in when we have this birthday that we're having tonight, and, you know, we've got to host it and all that. And then when it comes to the actual hosting of the party, it's like she's the one that's having to do all of the greeting and make sure everyone has their drinks and their food, and also taking care of the child to make sure the child's not running around the house like crazy. And it's like, where is this guy? And anytime she is like, can you watch so-and-so for a couple of minutes? If the child is acting up, he'll be like, oh, well, you know, I tried. She just wants to be with you, and pawns her off. And it's like, no, because if it was the reverse way, you'd be like, figure out a way to do it. Like, I can't come home early. It's kind of like the man always puts their needs first and their career first, and they just feel like it's the woman's job to take care of everything else. And that's even with her husband being a quote-unquote good husband. It's still not enough, because the amount of things that she is burdened with does not at all match what he's doing. Like, there's zero comparison. And it's like, these men applaud themselves in this generation because they're like, you know, we're so present with our children. We're so present. We actually talk to our kids. Like, we might sit down at the dinner table to have discussions, or we do this, we do that. My parents didn't do any of that stuff, so therefore I'm amazing. And it's like, yes, it's an improvement, but you're still not there, because guess what? Women aren't in the kitchen anymore. They're out with full-time jobs and careers. And this woman is trying to be partner at her law firm, and she's just like, you know, I need you to help pick up the slack because I am trying to pursue my dreams. I'm having this second baby because you wanted a second baby, and I knew that I was pretty much going to be the one doing most of the stuff surrounding raising this child, but I did it anyway to make you happy. And so now I need you to step up. And he's not doing that. So it's causing a lot of anxiety, and just reading this book myself, not even having kids yet, it's just completely writing me off wanting them. And the only thing that still kind of makes me be like, yeah, that would be nice, is that I know I would be a really good parent, but I would want to be a stay-at-home parent because I could not mentally manage doing the raising and working at the same time, because even just working is like too much for me. So I just have general anxiety. Even if I wasn't working, I would still have mental issues. So like, yeah, no, this gives me so much anxiety while reading it. So if you are in a place where you're like not medicated, this might be too difficult to read. I have been reading it in small chunks because it literally does make like my body tense up while reading it. But that's also why it's so amazing, because it's like everything in here is so real. Like I've observed these things from my own childhood and seeing how other parents interact with their children and just the differences of that. I think that I've kind of lucked out a bit, kind of how she feels, where it's like, maybe he's not doing enough, but he's doing better than most men. So I don't want to like nag him constantly, but also my needs are not being met. And so, yeah, it's just that thing with like society tells you like you're going to regret it if you don't have kids. But it's like, as the woman, you kind of know, especially if you have time to observe your partner, how are they really going to pull their weight? What are they going to do? And so, like, my husband helps take care of the dog, and he does the lawn. And if I'm like, hey, can you switch out the laundry because I put it in, he'll switch it out. But then there's other things that just don't get done, and I'm the same way. So I see myself not only with Nora's struggles with just how society views women and the expectations that they put on mothers, and the expectations that they put on wives. I have all the same anxieties that she has for that, but I also can see myself in her husband, because there's a lot of things where I'm just like, I don't want to do it. I'm just going to let it slide because it doesn't have to be done right now. It's not like a dire need, so I don't care. And so I can see myself in both of these characters. But anyway, so what is the story about other than just a fictional kind of commentary on societal views of women and their expectations as wives and mothers? So she is looking at a house because they need a bigger house because she's about to have her second child. So they go to this house, and she starts to see that all of the men in this neighborhood are pretty much the ideal husbands. They're what she would want her husband to be. They go get their groceries. They give their children's baths. They take them to dance lessons. Like, they do all of the things that the mothers have to do, and also they're very supportive of the wives, and all of the wives in the book are very career driven. So you've got neuroscientists, you've got like renowned therapists, you have a journalist who was in the New York Times for several years doing an advice column. You have everything pretty much with these different women. And so she wants to be part of this community, and she does envy them because she wants this life that they have. Well, also with her law firm, what she does is she goes in and she looks at like accidents or even deaths and tries to see who can we pin the blame on. Like, can we pin it on the insurance company? What is the electric company at fault? Like, who's at fault? So there is this woman whose husband has died in a house fire. And so they're like, hey, Nora, you want to get to know the people in this community. If you take on this case, you know, that will help the HOA, like, want to vote you in. Like, they basically try to collect women who are, like, outstanding And so they're interested in Nora because she is a lawyer, and Nora really likes this house and the location. So she's going to investigate the cause of the fire so that she can sue whoever she can sue, basically, to blame for the death of this husband. And so she's investigating, and then she starts having therapy with the woman that's in this book, and she brings her husband along. And I've just gotten to the part where he says the line, like, she just works so hard, which is the thing that all of the husbands in the story say when they're doing things. Like, they're even kind of playing host. Like, there's a day where the moms come over to the therapist house to do yoga, and they have a hired instructor that comes in, and the husband's like there with these mixed drinks that he's made and like little snacks and everything, and he's like serving the women, and then he's like, my wife just works so hard. So after like the 5th therapy session, the husband remembers picture day, because that was one of the things she complained about, is just having to keep this mental tally of all these things that need to be done for her daughter, and not wanting to have that burden, like to just want him to know what to do. And so this is like the first instance of him doing that. He's like, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna get breakfast. I washed her blue dress. And she's like, you did? Why? And he goes, picture day. She had forgot that it was picture day, because she's just overwhelmed. There's so much on her plate. So she's like, thank you, but also she almost thinks that it's a joke. Like, what? You're actually doing something? Like, this therapy is obviously working. But when he says that, my husband interrupted me and I lost my train of thought. But we're going to go see his cousin. Yeah. So we're going to go to his parents' house and we're going to go out to eat and stuff. But that's kind of what's happening here. But whenever he says that, this is where my train of thought was going. Whenever he says, like, oh, she just, you work so hard, it reminds her of the phrase that all the guys do. And that's kind of your clue that maybe something slightly paranormal is going on in this story that's making the men behave this way, which is what the blurb said on the back. Not that it's paranormal, but that there's a certain reason how they're able to achieve this. And I'm really curious to find out what it is. I hope I'm not disappointed. So the next parts are definitely going to be spoilery. Because the things that I've told you, I did give you some specifics, but like, it tells you in the blurb the things that I've been saying. I just added a few little details. So yeah, the next clips are going to be fairly spoilery because I am this far in the book. Yes, this is a piece of toilet paper I'm using as a bookmark. But I've got to go, so I'll see y'all later. It's 5 a.m. and my CPAP machine sounds like it's saying my name, Heather. Like, Heather. Listen, this is what I'm hearing when I breathe. Yeah, I don't like that. And if I breathe harder, it's like it's yelling my name, like, Heather! My dog just came over here and sniffed me. Hey, cutie. It's 5 a.m. I'm going back to bed. I love you. Night, night, bear, bear. Go bed. Go bed. I just finished this. Ugh. I'm mad. I'm so mad. Why? 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 Oh my gosh. Big spoilers will ruin the whole book. I'm gonna tell you what was happening here and the ending and why I'm mad. Oh. So, Nora finds out what happened, and I'm like, yes, a smart chick who puts all the clues together, and then she's going to get justice and vindicate Penny and Penny's husband. So Penny's husband was murdered, and then Penny was also murdered because Penny was wanting to have, like, the police involved, like a real investigation to prove that Cornelia and the other women of the community murdered him. So the way that they murdered him is that Alexis had suggested a type of cleaning thing, but it's highly flammable. And then he was using that cleaning stuff. And he turned on his oven, and he also had the fireplace going. So it caused a big fire, and he died. Penny was pushed down the stairs, and they had Nora's husband do the pushing so that he would be guilty of the murder. So if Nora did too much digging and figured out how they were controlling the men, she wouldn't do anything about it because they could get her husband in trouble for the murder. So Nora sees Penny at the bottom of the stairs bloody, which is also the accident that had happened to her daughter that she was at fault for because she had forgot to put up the gate and the daughter had fell down the stairs, and that's how she got her injury. That's what the accident was that was referred to in the book. And so she sees Penny after she hears her fall, and so she's trying to save Penny, but instead of calling 911 right away, Cornelia comes in the room and is explaining the situation to her and why she shouldn't call 911. And I'm like, why are you standing there listening to the villain monologue? Like, call 911, help your friend. But no, Penny dies. So I'm like, what? And then when she does escape the house and she calls for 911, it is a cop who also lives in the neighborhood, and she's in on it. So I'm like, okay, cool twist. Let's see what's going to go on. And also the one girl, the teenage girl, who was being all snooty, it's because she knew what was going on. And she didn't want her mother to know that she was still dating this guy because the mom would have them do therapy together and she would basically brainwash the guy. So it is brainwashing that's going on because Cornelia, who is a psychiatrist, has teamed up with the neurologist. So in one of the sessions, they had put the cap on with like the brain waves and stuff, and they can like manipulate the brain signals. So they were doing something like that to basically brainwash the husbands. And the trigger for like the hypnosis or whatever that they're doing is the click of a pen. So she was always like clicking the pen during the therapy sessions. So she was like getting him to register whenever the pen click. And that's why the moving gift, whenever they had signed for the house, was a golden pen. Because she could click it to manipulate her husband to do what she wants him to do. So, anyway, the cop comes, and then Nora convinces them to not kill her because she's like a loose end. And so Cornelia is like, this can change humanity if, we have more communities like this. And apparently Cornelia, when she was 10 years old, her mom had like married some guy in this religious cult. And that's how she learned how to indoctrinate people. So she had teamed up with this other woman, and they were basically creating these communities around the world with successful women controlling the men. Because it's like, how are women supposed to make new innovations and find cures to diseases when they're stuck at home raising their kids, or they are at work, but then as soon as they get home, they have to deal with all the kid stuff. So it's like they don't have any time to be successful, whereas men don't have the same amount of responsibilities, and that's why they're able to achieve more than what women achieve. At least on like a grander scale, as far as the amount of men versus the amount of women who have been successful in those like high regard ways. And so I'm like, okay, like I get why they would want to do that. And so does the character. She's like, I get this, but she's still telling them like, you murdered 2 people. It's not right. But she does convince them to let her live. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, you're protecting your husband and you're protecting your daughter and your unborn son. But I'm like, they kill people. And here's where I got ticked off. I'm like, yes, make that decision to save yourself in the moment, but then like collect whatever evidence you need to fry them down the line. And she has the evidence because Penny, before she died, had written the account of everything that was happening in the neighborhood, and they had wound up telling Penny at the Mother's Day cookout thing that they had killed her husband and why they had killed him, because he was no longer responsive to the treatment. So they weren't able to like manipulate and control him. And he would wind up he was also like a journalist type. So if he wrote a story about it, it could be bad. So they killed him. And then when Penny was starting to write the story of what had really happened, and Nora had mentioned that Penny was writing again and that she was writing fiction, like a murder mystery, that's when they decided that they had to kill Penny because they couldn't control her either. And Penny is like a super famous newspaper columnist as well for like the New York Times. So, oh my, it's still like daytime. I don't know why I'm kind of tired. Guess I'm just comfortable. I'm cozy. Anyway, so what makes me mad is that Nora had this information and no one knew that she had this information, but Penny had left it in her bathtub and Nora had found it because Nora was supposed to take her to the airport. So when Penny doesn't show up, she's going looking everywhere for Penny. I don't know why she opened the bathroom curtain to try to find Penny, but that's where the information was. Anyway, so she had this envelope with all the stuff that she needed, and she burns it. So that's when I got mad. I was like, you have evidence. Yes, be cunning. Talk your way out of them killing you in that moment. But then do something about it. Avenge their deaths. I'm like, what? What is going on? And then she's like, oh, but I have such a good moral compass. I am going to keep the secrets of these murders. But because I have such a good moral compass, I'm not going to live in this community anymore. So get me out of my contract. I'm going to go buy some other house. And like, I want my husband back. Like, I want him to be normal again. And the thing is that the treatment is triggered by the click of the pen. So it's not a permanent mindset. Like it has to be reinforced with the trigger of the pin click. So she moves into a different place and she lives there, and it's like the epilogue is like 2 years later, and she's at a book club with other people in this neighborhood, and they're kind of like complaining about their husbands a bit, and she gets home and she's talking about how the house is a wreck, her husband's not helping out again, which brings you right back to the beginning of the book where she really wasn't feeling supported. And I was like, well, this sucks. And she's talking about how happy she is with her family. And I'm like, how can you be happy? Like, this is all the problems that you were having in the beginning. Nothing has been made better for you. And you didn't vindicate the people who were murdered. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I don't understand. And I'm like, no, I would not be happy living like that. Just no. But then she goes upstairs and she opens her drawer, and what's happened is she's like, basically, she still has that pen. So she gets it out and she clicks it. And it's kind of like her thinking is like, you know, it never should have been all of this burden put on women and then men just get a free pass. And so she's like, oh, I guess I'll just start, you know, I'll make my husband be the way that he should be. And I get it. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you did have a magic button to just have them pull their weight and do what they're supposed to do? For it to actually be an equal partnership and not one-sided where the woman is doing all the stuff. I get it. But I'm like, you presented yourself as like this noble person and like a feminist and everything, but then it's kind of like fades into like the man-hater type, because it's like, you're gonna let people murder people and continue to manipulate and brainwash to like the whole ends justifies the means. And I'm like, but no, it doesn't. Not in this case. Ugh. Just like, what? What? I don't understand what the point is supposed to be. I don't understand. It would be great if the point was that she... Here's what I wanted the ending to be, okay? Let's just say what I wanted the ending to be. It is not what I got. So what I would have wanted to happen is for her to go home, and then when it was the 2 years later, she's collected all of this evidence with this other girl who was suspicious of the practices that were happening at the ranch, and they're able to take them down, and they can prove that like there was the hypnosis stuff and all that, so her husband doesn't get in trouble for the murder because he didn't do it of his own free will, and he doesn't even recall doing it. Like, his memory, he has no memory of it. And so I'm like, okay, I don't want him to get in trouble, but I want them to go down for what they did, like the bad manipulative people. And then after that, I wanted the husband, now that he knows that he's capable of doing these things and doing his share of like raising the kids and taking care of the house and just making it like an overall happy home environment, loving, all that kind of stuff, that he would continue it after the brainwashing is gone, and she could be like, I introduced this new way of life to my husband, and I didn't know that there was like this psychological brainwashing going on. But now that it's gone, like, he sees that I need this support, and he just continues it because he loves me. But that's not the ending. The ending was that she has to resort to clicking the pen, and that's such a hopeless ending. And it's like, the point of all stories that I write is basically that there's always hope. And like, this is like the complete opposite. It's basically like, the struggle is hopeless, so you just have to do whatever you have to do to even the playing field. And I'm just like, why? I don't understand the point. So it's like, okay, is it clever? Yes. Is it like the horror ending where at the last moment the body that's been buried, a hand bursts through the grave and you're like, oh, the killer's actually alive still? And then it's like an open ending. Yes, it goes with that. It has like the horror last moment reveal. I get it. Like it's part of the genre expectation. But I'm just like, I want to be able to root for her, and I want to be able to root for the husband too. And I'm just like, he made no progress. And she's not a great person because she's letting people get away with murder. And she doesn't feel guilty about it because she decides to use the pen. So it's like, yes, I support them. But I don't support them, but I support them. And I'm just like, frustrated. Will I be doing Library Lotto again? Yes. Will I read more books from this author? Maybe. I mean, it was interesting. You didn't get the reveal and like the last explosive part of the book until the last 40 pages. 40 pages out of 340 pages. I liked it. But like the whole first 300 pages, a lot of it was the struggling. Like the first, I would say 250 was the struggle of like, you know, being in the workplace and not having support at home. And like it resonates, you know, like it's a true picture of what a lot of women experience. And yeah, and then that ending, I just I don't know. I don't know what I feel about it. It's like, okay, as a writer, it's clever, but as a person, I'm like, I can't like her anymore. Like, I don't want to not like the character. Like, she was a good, like, moral character, and now it's like you're immoral because you just let it slide and continue. And I'm just like, you're not a hero anymore. You're not a hero. Ugh. It would be one thing if, like, she felt like the scope of this goes so far that if I ever tried to expose them, like, I would be taken down. Like, I will die, my children will die, my husband will die, like, I will lose everything. But that doesn't really go into her thought process in the aftermath at all. And it's like, okay, not every single person in the world could be against you and want you to die. So it's like, you could have come up with some way. I don't know. I'm just like, I'm like, Cordelia deserves to get some punishment. Okay? She deserves some punishment. But do I also wish that men would just do what they're supposed to do? And that extra expectations wouldn't be put on women? Yes. Yes. Do I think that the way that men were talked about in the book itself was accurate? Yes. From just experience, yes. Some people have it better than others. But I'm just like, why can't people just be good people and stay good people? Why? I'm like, why do you gotta be a gray character? I don't like that. Anyway, yeah. I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't. I do get angry like the women in this book about expectations on women, and not even the ones that like they put on themselves, but just falling into it, and that guys are like totally okay with it. I don't like that either. I don't like that either. Like, I know a lot of people who wait on their husband's hand and foot, and they outwardly enjoy that, and they're like, this is my way to show love, and I'm like, that's fine, but the men should understand that that should not be an expectation that their wives are doing that. And if their wives are doing that, then the men's better be doing something too, above and beyond, like the woman, to make up for it. Because, like, no, I'm definitely not the woman who's going to be like, oh, honey, you work so hard, so I made sure to have, like, dinner ready the moment you came through the door and all this other stuff. I'm just like, no, not me. Not me. I am just like, no. And you ain't gonna tell me what to do. None of that stuff. I'm independent. I'll do what I want. And that includes not doing dishes. Or not cooking. Or not doing whatever I don't want to do. Because I don't want to do it. Hey, Bear, what are you doing, baby? He's over there on one of his beds. He has like three beds. My husband told me the other day, I think we should get Bear another bed. I said, why? He already has three. And he said, yeah, but there's not one in my office. So he can't lay down in my office because there's no bed in my office. And I was like, so he just lays down on the floor every once in a while, even when he has a bed right beside him. He's like, yeah, when he wants to cool off. And I'm like, so? And I was like, you know, if he's in the office or whatever, you can drag a bed in there and he can lay on that. And I was like, but don't be taking it from my office because I like him to stay in there. He's like, yeah, that's the only reason why he'll stay in there, because you have the bed. Bear. Hey, sweet pea. Oh. Are you coming over here? Come here. Say hi. Hi. Love you. Love you. Anyway, that was my experience with this book. I'm going to have to sit on it. I'm thinking it's going to be a 4-star because even though I'm just like, I wish it was a different ending, it was clever. And I did enjoy reading it. Like, I like the writing style and everything. But also it made me extremely anxious the entire time that I was reading it because it is like this overwhelming feeling of hopelessness. And that, I think, is why I don't like the ending. It's just because it's like the whole book was hopeless. And then when the husband gets better through this brainwashing, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I like this change in him, but I don't know how it's happening, really. And, like, I wanted her to figure out what was going down so that she could take them down. But again, like I said, I wanted things to actually change for her in the end. Like, I wanted her husband to continue to be helping out. Because honestly, even when he made the change and he was doing some stuff, it wasn't like it was a bunch. It was like how me and my husband are with my dog. Like, it's just bare minimum. It's like actually splitting up the work. It's like, okay, like, we both gotta take a shower after work, so you go get in the shower, I'll feed Bear and put on his collar and take him outside and stuff, and then I'll get in the shower and, you know, whatever. Or, like, if there's cooking, he'll be like, okay, I need these dishes washed so that I can cook this meal, and then he cooks it. Or even with the laundry, if I put the laundry in sometimes, if I'm doing something when it finishes, I'll be like, hey honey, can you switch the laundry? Because I put it in. Like, it's just easy things where you're just splitting the task. It shouldn't be on one person, you know? And then the other thing that we do is the lawn is really, really big. And I'm not supposed to be out in the sun like that because I'm monitored for like lupus. I have some kind of autoimmune and they don't know which one. So they just kind of start by looking for lupus. But anyway, so I'm like, you mow the lawn and I'll do all the sweeping, and like dishes and stuff. And then we share trash duty, and I'll probably have him do like bathtub and shower just because chemicals in an enclosed space with me don't work well, but like I can do the toilets and the sink, no problem. Anyway, I'm just getting rambly now, but all I'm saying is start out how you intend with your spouse or whatever, because if you don't and you do everything and you wait on them hand and foot, they're just going to expect that. And no. Nope. Not me, not me. But yeah, I'm like, even with my situation where it's give and take and we're both doing stuff, there's still expectations when it comes to like outsiders. So like, if someone's coming over, all of that weight is on me to have the house look a certain way. I don't feel like he feels any of that because he's a man. And so if someone comes into the house and they're like, oh, you know, this is like messy or whatever, they ain't gonna be looking at him. They're gonna be looking at me and judging me. And I'm like, that ain't right. And I hate that the world is like that because that's just wrong. Anyway, I am done. Hopefully you've enjoyed this first episode of Library Lotto. Don't forget to go check out Books to Ashes or Books and Ashes, however you say the channel name. I'll link it somewhere so you can go check out her channel and subscribe and watch her Library Lotto videos, because I definitely would not have thought of this particular way of picking out books of the library, but I absolutely love it. So I didn't ask to start doing this series because I like it too much for the answer to be no. But I will make sure I give her credit in every video. So hopefully that will bring her some subscribers and stuff, because I don't want to benefit on someone else's creation without pointing everyone to their creation, because creators deserve recognition for what they create. But yeah, any videos I ever do, if y'all watch them and you're like, hey, I want to do this, do it. Like, you can literally like do the same video. You do it, just credit me. Anyway, I'm done. Bye.